we are today. We're going to play a little bit of show and tell with Raspberry Pi paraphernalia. Okay, Raspberry Pi 1 here with a whole bunch of stuff on it, but mainly the camera, the ribbon connector going through the crack because the case sucks because it's a Raspberry Pi 1, and the big SD cards just fit right in there. Sorry. And then there you have it. Your SD card hangs out, your cords hang out, and yeah, all this stuff is infrared control going out to control the TV and infrared coming in to control the Raspberry Pi. And anyway, that's the Raspberry Pi 1. Next step, Raspberry Pi 2. More USB, slots in the cases for the cameras and the header boards, slots, and last but not least, our card. Oh, they lower profiled it, and now our card slides in to there like so, and you have a lower profile, neater looking case. Now along comes Raspberry Pi 3 here. And again, this is simple. This is from one supplier, but it's a Raspberry Pi 3. Remote control has been built in through trade name AnyNet, and any AnyNet remote control TV can control the Pi through the HDMI. The card, again, very small, micro SD, low profile. Lots of USB ports, and Ethernet, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth as well. Press pause. Just to revisit, this is the Raspberry Pi adapter that comes with the micro SD card. Some of my friends were wondering why you even have it. Well, if I load your image, you don't use it unless you're going to reload your image on your computer. So this is actually, although it's from the original Pi 1, it's an interface for your computer now. So that's why they still ship it. And then right in here goes the micro SD card. So not for use on a functioning Pi, but good for setting one up. So we touched on the Raspberry Pi 3. Another touch on the Raspberry Pi 3 through another box here, through another distributor. Here, same idea. They're all the same. The boards are the exact same. The cases are different. Little Raspberry Pi emblem. I went a little quick on the Raspberry Pi 2. Here you can see it a little more clearly. The slots for the ribbon, 2 ribbon cable connector interfaces. And then here you can see right through the case, through the crack, into the header pin for the general input-output ports. Okay, again, exactly the same layout board, USB 3.0, 4 ports, Ethernet, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, audio connector, HDMI connector with audio, with AnyNet control. And there's where the card goes. You can see the little black card in there. And this is a working media center. And now, last but not least, our feature presentation is the best Raspberry Pi that I have seen. I saw a video of it. It's the same thing, Raspberry Pi 3, but the cases are going to be different. So we're going to open this together and see what's all involved in the Cana Raspberry Pi kit. See, you can see it says Cana. And it was the best deal, the best price, even with next day shipping. It was less than $110. and it's got a 32 gigs card, whereas the other Raspberry Pi 3s, this one and this one, although they were available local and it was quicker to get them, they only came with SD cards, and one costs $130 and one costs $126. So this one, all inclusive, was $107, less than $107. So let's see what we got here. Very exciting. They all came with the HDMI cable, which is nice. Here's the GPIO pinout card, but that's not for the average Joe. That's for project people. I think this is the power supply. Yeah, that's just the power supply. 5 volts, 2.5 amps. Here is the case. This is why I bought this one, because I like the black case, and it's going to be my media center. Raspberry Pi logo. And we'll actually get into some detail about putting this all together. I'm just going to pull it apart for now. Put the boxes off. Here, remember how we had Raspberry Pi adapter? If you don't, it's that for the micro SD card. Not all computers have SD readers, so Cana, in their infinite wisdom, and this is another reason I bought this additional kit. It's in a child-proof wrapper, and I'm a child at heart, so that's why we're having issues here. Okay, here we go. Now, here's the adapter. That is a USB interface. So let me just reach over here out of sight and get a card and just show you how this works. It goes in here, and you see it in there barely. And then this gets plugged into a Windows or a Mac machine, or Linux if you're like me, and you write to it. And then you take this out, remove the card, put it into a Raspberry Pi 2 or 3. 2 and 3 are the same. They operate on the same operating systems. And yeah, that's that. So last but not least, here's what's under the hood of all those cases. The Raspberry Pi 3. And you'll be able to see what I'm talking about when I babbled about all those slots and everything. There was a slot for a ribbon cable that hosts a camera or other devices. Another one here. The takeoff jumpers, or the takeoff header for all the general purpose input outputs. And the power supply, the HDMI cable, the audio cable. Very familiar, the USB ports and the Ethernet. And yes, the card goes in on the bottom. The card reader is on the bottom. So it's, I just saw some people on the internet new to them wondering where you put the card. And if I shipped you one, I would ship you one with the card in it. And yeah, so there's the USB. I'm sorry. There's the ports and everything. Here's my card that came with it, 32 gig. And what I want to show you is something I don't know a lot about, is putting it into this case. And I only saw a video on it. And on the video, they were fumbling around with it as badly as I was forcing it. Okay, now this kit, more reasons why I bought this kit. Black, heat sinks. Forgot to mention the heat sinks. This one's going to be a workhorse, so I am going to, it's only tape heat sinks. I'm not sure what good they do, but some's better than none. I'll stick that on tight. And that's the CPU. And then there's the graphics processing unit. It's a little smaller. And I suppose I should orient it the right way. And for all I know, the heat from the chip activates that compound. Who knows what technology that does these days, and it turns solid for all I know. But I'm going to wait until I have problems, and then after I have problems, I will... Okay, this is where the guys on YouTube had problems. They didn't get it under those tabs at the card end. So there's two tabs there. Put the board under that, place it in, and it's done. That's seated in there. Oh, the other thing they tried to do was do it with the SD card in. Don't do it with the SD card in. It undue stress on the board. And then the walls. And see how the little heat sinks stay up there? And there's still room for all the takeoffs. And then, last but not least, the case. And it's got vents all around here for air to come through the bottom, over the board, around, and out the top through the grill of the berry or slots here. So this one's going to run the coolest, and it will replace this one. And this one is for testing, so it's mostly off. And this one is going to be a print server. It's got a bigger case, so I'm not too worried about it overheating. And I think that's all the interesting points we have about the Raspberry Pi. Thanks for your patience in watching. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody. If anybody has any questions, well, you know how to get a hold of me. The internet. Okay, thanks guys. Talk to you later. Have fun. Bye now. Be safe.